Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Spirituality and Business Interview series. I have with us today Jennifer Blumenthal. Jennifer is a human spirit guide and the founder of Wise Oracle Academy. Jennifer helps awakening women to find the magic and miracles in the mundane by helping them connect with their intuition and use their spiritual gifts to help themselves and other people live more joyful lives. It's fantastic to have you with us. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Thank you. I'm very excited to be here, and I love to talk about this kind of topic. So, my business is called Seduction of Soul, and I call myself a human spirit guide because I feel like I'm here to help expand the magic that's in the universe. Wow. Like, a lot of people talk about magic. I'm one of those people that just feels like there's magic everywhere. And I think that when you tap into it, when you follow your soul's lead, that's where you find the magic and you find the healing that you want, your intuition expands, and we get to move into more of this flow state where it's like this more natural place to be, especially for women. And we find abundance, we find pleasure, we find our purpose. And so that's kind of what I use my tools to guide people toward.
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. It's fantastic to have you with us. I really love that, that there's magic in everything. Can you tell us a little bit about your spiritual path?
Yeah, so I started as a database developer. So for 20 years, I was in IT, totally left-brained. And for a long time, I really loved it. And then, long story short, started getting restless in it. And around that same time, I started being introduced to the world of spirituality. And it wasn't that somebody said, hey, here's this world of spirituality. It was like somebody invited me to go crystal digging. Someone invited me to go to a New Age show, a fair, a conference, a fair. And I got to see like this whole group of people and who were all into this New Age stuff. And it just felt really, really good to me. And so that's how I started watching Ghost Hunters. Like that was my introduction into this whole world, was watching Ghost Hunters on TV. And it was just like all of these little pieces, all these little pebbles kept coming in front of me. And so I followed that path. And so that's how I got in touch with the magic of the universe, because it felt very magical and it felt very much like being at home with myself. Beautiful. It was suddenly like, oh, this is what I'm here to do. I had that realization of, oh yeah, this is why you're here. And so the more I followed those little nuggets, the more I understood why I was here. Now it took me a long time to develop what I was doing, but still it felt like home. And I knew that I had to help other women find that magic and heal the things that held them back and help them to be like their true authentic selves. Wow. So that's kind of how my business started, because my life started that way. Like I found that healing and that authenticity. And I was like, oh yeah, we need to share this love around.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. It's so beautiful to hear the way that the pebbles came down and that feeling of like being at home. That's such a beautiful, powerful feeling.
Yeah.
What spiritual technique have you found to be the most powerful in your business?
So I actually have two. One that has been most powerful for me, and then one that really has been most powerful for my clients. Mm-hmm. So in my business, like for me, I use a process called Soul Art. I'm a certified soul art guide. And it's a 5-step creative journey process. And you can go deep into who you are, into your spirituality, into healing things that are holding you back, discovering things about money and, your view on abundance, and just like anything you want. It can be physical body healing. It can be emotional. It can be expansive, whatever that is. And I've used that process a lot for me. And what I have learned from that is that creativity is not an option. for me. Like for me to be my best self in my business and to be my most productive and to be, on point and to be the most helpful I can be, I've got to have creativity in my life on a regular basis.
Nice.
And even when it feels like I don't have time for that, I can't. I've got to make time for that because that's what makes me feel my best. So that's how I show up my best. But for my clients, I think I do start them with a soul art guided journey. Because it helps to like open the door for the path that we're going to go down together as a client and a coach. But what we use more on a regular basis is oracle cards. And I love oracle cards because they access, the images on oracle cards access a primal part of ourselves and really helps us tap into that primal part, that intuitive part, and bring that out to the surface. And they're so accessible to everybody that I like to use them as tools to find out what's going on. So I have some really fun stories from clients, and it's really easy when we're stuck to pull out the cards and say, let's find out what's going on without the mind being involved. So those are the two tools that I use the most.
Fantastic.
Sure.
Yeah, and I love that you shared that the tools you use and the tools your clients find most powerful aren't necessarily the same thing. I know sometimes when we're in this space, we can feel like, oh, we have to, what works for me has to work for you, and that you acknowledge that your clients may need something different is really powerful and beautiful.
Yeah, thank you.
In what ways has your spirituality made growing your business different from the mainstream business advice?
Yeah, that's a great question because honestly, I've signed up for a lot of courses and I've worked with some coaches, and a lot of the mainstream business advice hasn't worked for me, or it doesn't resonate with me. And, and I will say that it doesn't work for me a lot not because I'm like special or anything like that, but because if something doesn't resonate with you, then you're sending out this vibration to it that it's going to make it not work, and it's going to make you not put energy into it. And you have to find what resonates with you and what feels good to your soul and the way you do business. And I love the fact that we are now talking about soul in business so much, because I think it's really, really important. And, if I'm always trying to do what they say is the right way to do business, and that doesn't feel right to me, then it doesn't work for me. And then I don't have any success. I don't get anywhere in my business. So I learned from one of my coaches about what she calls inspired marketing.
Oh, nice.
And it's a way to tap into that desire that you have to serve in a certain way, or to run your business in a certain way, or to add in kind of these spiritual tools that we're talking about in a way that is helpful for you and makes it feel better. So can I give you an example of that?
Yeah, absolutely.
So one way that I do pretty differently than other people is that in my yearly business planning. So like I had a little retreat with an entrepreneurial friend of mine last year, and we're doing it again this year.
Beautiful.
And it's not just sitting down and looking at your calendar and, getting your numbers and, planning out your services and all that. It is that, but we would start the day by pulling oracle cards.
Oh, wow.
We would take yoga breaks. We had an altar set up, kind of at the table. And we did energy healing during the session. We did a meditation visualization where we went in and we talked to our business as if our business was an entity talking back to us to say, what do you want? What do you need? How do you want us to bring you out into the world? And so when we did the spiritual pieces, the woo-woo pieces with that, like the stuff that we got out of it was so powerful. And the plan that we ended up with felt like, yes, this is my plan and this is my path. So, incorporating in what feels good and doing things your own way, I think is really, really important.
It is, absolutely. And that's so powerful. Thank you, seriously, for sharing that little behind the scenes look at using those woo-woo techniques to grow your business. I don't think we talk enough about, at least not like publicly, about that sort of thing. And, like actually how people come up with business plans can be kind of a hush hush thing. So really getting the chance to see under the hood is so powerful. I really appreciate you being willing to share that here with us today.
Yeah, thanks for being willing to talk about it and bring it into business, because I agree. I think it's important.
It is, absolutely. How can entrepreneurs include spirit? Well, you kind of talked about that as well, but is there any other way that entrepreneurs can include spirituality in their business, even if their business isn't spiritually based? Because I know you do work with oracle cards, but for someone who maybe, is still in IT or something like that, can they bring spirituality into their business?
Yeah, sure, for sure. So practice your own spirituality. Like, it doesn't have to be visible in your business.
Mm-hmm.
It can be part of who you are and what you do to get yourself settled and together, and to feel good in your own soul in order to be your best in whatever your business is, even if you're, in IT, like you say. So, do things like get grounded before you start your day. Mm-hmm. Cut your cords. So if you are working with clients, you get an energetic attachment. Like right now, you and I have gotten an energetic attachment.
Yeah.
When you're done with that, just cut your cords, throw them in a 50-foot hole, brush them off, so that you're not carrying around the energy of other people with you all day long, all the time. You don't just accumulate that energy. Keep your own energy clean. And yeah, I have to say oracle cards again, because you can, if you've got something going on, if you want to know how to best help a client, if you want to know, what is your best action to take that day so that you can be your most productive, pull a card. Like, it doesn't have to be visually or with a client. You can do it on your own beforehand just to help you kind of prep.
Yeah.
So simple things. You can totally do simple things to bring spirituality in your business, even if that's not what your business is about.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And also, do you have any advice for like finding people? Like you mentioned that you're doing the retreat with someone, so you're able to create that space together, which in my experience, when you're doing it with other people, it becomes even more powerful. Do you have any advice on finding people that you can create these practices with?
Yeah, for sure. Start with, so I will say that one issue that people have when they aren't kind of out of the spiritual closet is feeling comfortable talking about this stuff. And, a lot of people tell me, like my clients tell me, they can't talk about this with their family because they'll think they're crazy. They can't mention it to their friends because their friends will think they're weird. So you kind of have to, it's kind of twofold. You want to really use your intuition, because your intuition will tell you who it is safe to talk to and who it isn't. And you can drop little hints to see how that person is going to resonate with you wanting to incorporate spirituality in your life and your business. So you find people in your circles who feel safe, who you can talk to. And you might be surprised that some people think the same thing, but they can't say it because they're afraid you're thinking they're weird, right? So you've got to find people in your local circles or meet people who do that kind of thing. Like you can go to meetup.com and find local groups in your area, or go to yoga studios or go to meditations and, find people who are into that kind of stuff and build those relationships. Or you can also, like my friend and I who have done this together, we met at a business conference.
Oh, wow.
And we both were in kind of spirituality category businesses. And so we just kind of hit it off. She lives in Utah, I live in Florida. So we're flying, to meet each other. So you can also make online friends who become part of your tribe and find ways to meet. Like if it's important to you, you can totally make it happen.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's really fantastic advice. As you said, like it can be really scary for people to talk about it, and having that community, having that tribe, having that support, it's very powerful. And so really thank you for sharing those techniques. And I love that you met your friend at the business conference. Like, just goes to show that, yeah, you can meet these people like anywhere. You know, there's not like just one box of acceptable places to meet people.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And we're really all over the place. Like we're everywhere. So meet us, find us.
Yes, and thankfully it's becoming more and more acceptable to share, so it's becoming easier to find people as well, which is really beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes. Is there any other advice you feel people need to know about business and spirituality?
Yes. First of all, we need more of it, more spirituality in business. That's the biggest piece of advice. So do it, bring it in. Second, I kind of already talked about this, but especially for women, I really want you to notice your own energy, notice what nourishes you, notice what makes you feel good, notice what makes you more productive, and make it non-negotiable to put that into your schedule, into your life, so that you can be your best in your business. Like, definitely, if it feels, and it's going to be things that are not business related. So it might be going out in nature. It might be meditating. It might be, like for me, creativity. Trust that the things that you're being led to do are important for you in order to be your best. And then, trust that other people want that stuff as well. People want to feel grounded. They want to know who they are. They want to feel centered. They want to feel powerful. So if you can start bringing in, like, imagine if you, start a client session and you both get grounded together before you start your work, like how much more powerful that's going to be, because you're rooted, you are in a place where you're able to, flow with the breeze, like deal with whatever comes your way without getting uprooted. Right? So getting grounded is really an easy way to work with clients. So you can totally bring that in an easy way. But definitely practice that stuff yourself. Do what feels good in order to be your best in your business.
And kind of related to that, I'd just like to share a small story. I saw someone share once. She is a spiritual practitioner as well, and at one point she was sending out cards. I don't even remember why, but as she was putting the card in the envelope and sealing it, she sort of made that a meditative practice and just sort of sent loving energy with every single card. And she actually got people reached out to her just to comment that, they felt it, even if they weren't consciously aware, they felt it. And there's so many different ways that you can bring that spirituality into your business.
Yes. Oh, I love that story. That's perfect. And it's so simple.
Yeah.
And it's just a way to share love. It's like, it's what I call weaving a web. So you weave a web of love throughout time and space.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Very powerful. I love it.
Lovely.
Thank you for that.
So one thing that you mentioned to me before we got on was about how women's energy can ebb and flow and how that can conflict with the mainstream hustle. I think that that's something that'd be really good to share here, really valuable to talk about.
Yeah. So it's like, the way we have been taught to be successful is to go out there and hustle, like you especially hear that as a term a lot these days.
Oh yeah.
And it's, pushing, and it's sticking with it. And it's like all of this young masculine energy. But especially for women, our energy doesn't flow that way. And so when we are hustling and when we're pushing and when we're trying and when we don't listen to our bodies and listen to our energy, then we can struggle. We can burn out. We can, it's like swimming upstream and it doesn't feel natural. So if you're one of those women who are like, this doesn't feel right, this, why do I have to do this? I'm so exhausted and I'm pushing and it's hard to get anywhere. And, think about that. That's not, you're going against your own energy flow. Mm-hmm. And so that's why I talk about, finding the things that feel good because those are the things that are going to put you back in your energy flow. That's like, for me, creativity puts me back in my flow when I get out of my kind of ordinary business reality and go be creative, because it lets my inner voice speak in a way that, typing content doesn't do, right? So being in nature, creativity, doing the rituals, sending love to every envelope that you seal, like that stuff feels good. And that's the way that we kind of flow with our energy. And sometimes we need to take more time, and we need to stop and rest, and we need to go smell flowers, or we need to play with our dogs. That's all inner nourishment for us. And it's important to be aware of what your energy needs in order to feel good and to be your best and be your most productive. So thank you for bringing that up. So I think that we need to do that more, and the world is just going to keep becoming a better place as we do it.
Yeah, I absolutely agree on this, like just in general, because as a culture, we're getting way too overworked, but especially for entrepreneurs, like even the people who say, you should practice self-care, you should take time to yourself, like in the same breath, they'll also say, oh, and you should be hustling and like working as much as you possibly can. And one thing I've noticed is that when I'm doing that, like pushing upstream, I don't really get anywhere. But when I find the things that feel good, the things that feel natural, like it becomes easier. And it takes some effort, but it doesn't have to take the kind of effort where you just feel like you're pushing a boulder uphill.
Yeah, it doesn't make you as exhausted. Like, it refreshes your energy. Yeah. So that it's a more natural kind of forward movement instead of pushing the boulder uphill.
Exactly.
Yeah,
absolutely. So I know that you have a few things of your own to share with us, but before we talk about that, is there anything else that you'd like to share about spirituality and business that we haven't had a chance to cover?
Well, let's see. What else do I want to share about spirituality and business? I already said it, but it's really important that we bring more spirituality into business. And we need more people to come out of the spiritual closet and make it more mainstream so that it is an accepted way in business. And we need more of people doing things that are from a heart-centered way in business, so that we set a new example and we change the paradigm from hustling to, kind of this heart-centered place where you're in your heart, and your goal is to send out light in all directions. Like, to me, that's what spirituality and business is about. You're doing business, you're helping people, you're making money, you're creating a livelihood and a lifestyle for yourself, but you're doing it from a place that is heart-centered, where you are sending out love and light into the world. So if you can even think about in your business, being in your heart space and projecting out love and light, just as you're doing your business, as you're typing your content, projecting it out into your keyboard, or, doing this, projecting it out to people who are watching, even just with intention. Just having an intention of that can be incredibly powerful. So do that.
Absolutely. And thank you for sharing that with us. And I agree, it is very important. And also the beautiful thing is that as more people open up about this, the easier it is to find the support in doing it. So that's really helpful. So I know that you have a free guide that I find very interesting, the 11 steps for creating transformation with Oracle cards.
I do. I would love to give that to anybody who wants that. And that came about because the way that I do my readings, I want my readings to be transformational for people. So I don't want to just say, hey, this is what your personality is like, because they're like, I already know that. So that's not helpful. So I want it to be, you have a question, you have a need, you need some guidance, and we get that with the cards, and we create some transformation for you in your life. So this is my process for all of the things that I go through to create a transformational reading for somebody. And I want as many people to get their hands on that as possible and help people with transformation.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's the guide.
Yes, and there's a link to that below this video. So absolutely, if you're watching this right now, make sure that you check it out.
Yes, thank you. Please do.
Mm-hmm. And do you have anything else that you want to share with us today?
Can I mention my survey?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I've got a survey that I would love for people to take because I am, upgrading my courses, and I would love to know kind of what you want to know about working with Oracle cards and working with them in your business. So if anybody would like to take my survey, I'm offering a $50 gift certificate toward the course. Totally optional, but if anyone is interested in that, I would love your opinion.
Yeah, beautiful. And thank you so much for telling us about that and that opportunity. That survey is also in the link down below this video. So again, if you're watching this and Oracle cards is something that's relevant to you and you have feelings about what you want to know about them, definitely make sure that you check out that survey and help give your insight so Jennifer can create even more valuable content.
I would greatly appreciate it very much.
Yeah. All right. So thank you so much for taking the time to be here today and showing so much of your path and your personal experiences, especially like that little behind the scenes peek into how you do your business and how you actually use the spirituality in your business. That's really helpful. I greatly appreciate it. I know everyone watching will as well. And also thank you to everyone who is watching here with us today and for being a part of this journey. So it's been absolutely fantastic to have you here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Zach. I really enjoyed it. I'd love to talk about it anytime.
Absolutely. Thank you.